from other regions in the world will get to watch this version or episode of this TMCC virtual training. So today we would continue from where we stopped, and from the previous conversation we had, we dealt with active users. So we came into active users, and then we looked at creating user templates, and then we also went to adding multiple users, and then we looked at briefly looked at deleted users as well, and then also we went on to resetting users password when we spoke about user management. So if you look at here, the first option after, the first icon after active user is contacts. So how we liking contact is a directory that you save people's email address in your organization and decide if you want other people to have the contact of those people. But these users, these users are not even in your directory. So you are just only having them as a go-to. Let's say, for example, you have phone and then you have people's contact saved. So if you do not, you don't even need to know the number, so long you are able to know the name with which the number was saved. So that way you'll be able to recover or call those people by just typing in their names, and then the number matching will come up for you to call them directly without having to know the particular number. So the same way it happens also. And then for organizations, specifically, it for you to save the entire contact, it can also include emails right in that contact. And then phone numbers as well can be there. You can put everything together. For you, as someone who is creating the contact, here as an administrator, you can decide to allow that contact to be visible in what is called the global address list, so that when people want to send email to maybe my gmail.com, right, they will be able to search for my name from their Outlook under people, and then my they will see my email address, and then they can email me. That's how interesting it is to go into to have contacts in your environment. So now, if we click on contact, you have option to just the same way you created user by adding a user, adding multiple user, and then also you can export users, right? So in contact as well, you have contacts being people outside of your organization that you would like everyone to be able to find. And then anyone listed here can be found in Outlook under people. So I'm trying to see if I can open Outlook by the side while we are discussing this. So how do you do this? You can see that this guy here is Peter Ken, and Peter Ken is coming in with a Gmail email address. That means that this person is not necessarily supposed to be like your domain user, right? So you can put details for a contact, and these details can include the name, right? The company where the user worked, the phone numbers, and then if you have other contact details that you want to provide as well, you can put them there for people to be able to contact them from people under Outlook. So if I come to Outlook, where do you see contacts in Outlook? This is Outlook on the web app. So here is where you see people, right? So if you click on people, now you have like a list of the people in your environment, and those that are in contact, you also find them in the list as well. So that's how if you look at this, is your own contact as a user. You can also create a list of contacts for yourself as an end user, but you can leverage on the contact list of your organization, and then you can really look at them. So I'm trying to look at something quickly. So this person contact list is not updated because that guy there on that contact is not here yet. However, this is how to create contact. First, if you want to create single contact, you click on add contact, and then you can decide to bring up the name. The name can be, um, let's say James, and then the guy's name is um Jonah. James Jonah, right? I'm just trying to bring up a name. So if you click down here, just the same way the experience you have when you create a standard user, you can also have that. You will also have that experience when creating this. Now, the email address of the contacts that you want to save for people to be able to reach out to. Like instance, when I see Peter Ken, can you see from here, from this Outlook? If you come here, you would really see Peter Ken. And if you look at Peter Ken, you will see that he's AC technician, right? And then you can see if if you have shared files with him, the messages you have shared and all of that. But this is the phone number and it's the AC technician. I know that if you also put AC technician here, right? You see, you're also seeing Peter Ken. That means that if you are in the organization and then there's a contact that was saved in your org, let's say somebody who repairs your AC and you're trying to, send a mail to him, but you can't really remember the person's name. You can, if the administrator had created that user correctly, you can use the person's details to create that. You can use the person's job description to create the the details so that when people use that to search for the people, they can see that user. So if I come here, for instance, I'm just trying to quickly show you this just so you can see what we are trying to do here to be cascading to what you have there. Now, let's say this guy is from one domain. His name is James. James rather. James at I just want to maybe Facebook, right? Let's say the guy works in Facebook, facebook.com. So that's the guy's email. So let's say this guy is our social media, I don't know, let's say social media manager, right? So you will supply this detail and then the mail tip is what you would, okay, before we go to mail tip, the company is where the guy works. So you can say the guy works at Facebook. His office phone number can just be plus 36 this, and then if he has a mobile phone also that you want people to reach out to him, just in case it's not available via email, you can also just go ahead and put his mobile phone number. So if you have a fax, you can put that there. What's the title that you want to give to the guy? Then is social media manager. Then if there is a website of his company, let's say, I don't know, let's say the website of the company is this, you can put the website of the company, then the street address. So all these details are definitely going to show up on the list. So you can say the streets, you can put it there, you can put the city, you can put the state or province, then the country. You can decide to also put the country of that person. That means in that contact, you can really specify the country that the person is, as the case may be. So here the mail tip is just the detail that will come up while the people are trying to search for this guy from Teams, just so they can have option to reach out to him. So let's say, for example, this mail tip is saying this is the social media manager of our organization, let's say org, right? So what this is going to do is just the same way you've seen that detail for Peter Ken, they are going to also see the detail for this user as well. So if you look at all the details and you feel that they are fine, you can go ahead and save. Now you look at this box here that is showing up here. It's showing hide from organization global address list. So this is actually what makes it searchable from Outlook. If I check this, what will happen is that I will hide the contact will still be here quite okay, but I've hidden it from the global address list. So what is the impact? I mean, what could be like the use case, the business justification for a contact to be available, and yet you are hiding it from people from being able to search for that contact? So how that happens is that, for example, you have a contractor. Is it a contractor? Maybe you have like a business deal with James, but then after some time the deal had ended, and there's going to be like it's going to be recontacted after like 1 year, just so he can come back to continue working with you. So instead of deleting his contact, because contact does not even require license, it does not require anything, so you may just want to hide it from the global address list, so that when it comes back to work with you again by the next year, then you can enable the citing, in the organization. So how you do that is, I won't check this because obviously I would want it to be available in the GAL. So if you hear the word GAL is global address list. So what I would do, I will just click on add. So if I click on add, so what that means is that this account or this contact has been added to my tenant. And once it shows successful, once it shows a green check, then it means that the account, it has been created. So what is it saying? Exo outage not found, retrieved from this. Exo outage is possible when you see this kind of errors. So it's possible that it's possible that there are issues around exchange in creating contact, and that's why you are on this call, because you may want to troubleshoot that issue by looking through what is here. So I'm bringing that error and I'm typing it into this, and I'm hitting this. That's the error I'm facing. This is Copilot in action, and let's just see what it's going to tell us that the issue is. Now, for you as a person, this is what you are going to be using. Part of the tools that you'll be using to, it seems like, to troubleshoot issues. So it's saying that it seems like you are experiencing an issue with Exchange. Here are some of these. So we want to say specifically that when creating contacts in M365, I get this error. I get this error. So let's see what it will give us. So apart from using Copilot, there are like web search that you can also do, just so you can look at what's happening. I'll see a lot of suggestions. Let's now read carefully and see what it is saying. It seems like you are encountering an error this, right? The error is this. So indicating that the system is unable to find the request response. So that is the meaning of the error. So here are a few steps that you can do. Check the service health. So I was mentioning to you that with what we have seen there, it is possible that there's an issue generally. So verify the status of Exchange Online services in M365 Admin Center to see if there are any going outages. So clear your browser cookies and then update permissions, retry the option. Occasionally, temporary issue can cause error, then contact support. So that's basically it. Of course, if you put it here also on just the bare web search, you can have people who have already encountered similar error that you may want to check, right, and see what that error is telling you. But I am suspecting strongly that there could be an issue with Exchange Online. So if you see the word exo actually means Exchange Online. So if the system is telling you exo outage, it means that there is Exchange Online related issue. Okay, so nothing to panic about. You can wait and try this later, or you can even refresh and see that it could even go through. But ideally, you are supposed to. It's giving us a separate error, and this is very like I like the error because we we're having different one, and this is what you are being prepared for, like your regular. So when you see these red lines, they should not give you heart attack. They should only give you opportunity to check further. So what does it say? Say create contact field, please enter a unique display name for the contact. So what is the display name, right? So let's just say, is it a unique display name? Could it be that it has picked the other one? So let's just put James and leave and remove Jonah from there. And then let's just click on add, because this error is telling us that it's not working. So what we'll do is let's do a refresh here and see what happens. It's possible that that contact, you see it, it was created that first time, even though it threw up an error for us. However, if you look at that contact, the company is not showing, the office phone number is not showing. That's why when we came back, it was saying that we should provide a unique name. So what that means is that the display name was already existing and it was having like a conflict already. So really you can come back to edit contact. So what you do is you can come here and then edit the contact. The company now is Facebook, remember? The company is Facebook, and then office phone number. If you still want to put it, you can put it this time, and then mobile phone number, you can put it this time, and then title is social media manager, and then website is I copied that website before, and that is far down below here. This is it. And then, or can even put facebook.com, right? So it depends on how it is. So the city, you can put the city, the state or province, you can save. You may be lucky that it will just save, right? It is saved now. So what happens is that that contact has been created. What am I trying to establish here? Things don't go straight. And if they are going straight, and straight, you will not really learn. So because of the error we encountered, now we've pulled up Copilot, we've go to web search just to see where that issue is coming out from. Now, instances where Peter Ken has finished working with us, and then we want to say, okay, Peter, bye-bye. We can just come here and then click on delete contacts, and then this contact will be deleted. So it will leave us, but if we don't want to delete this contact and we don't want Peter to be searchable from Outlook, what we will do is to come here and then click on Peter, right? And then go to these settings, and then so this is mail tip, hide from global organization. I mean, hide from my organization's global address list. I can manage. So if I click on manage, once I do this, right, then this guy will be hidden from Outlook just within some time. This guy will no longer be visible, right? So now for contacts, I will quickly look at, so Jonah or James may not at this point be searchable yet because we just created the account. But then sometimes it can be a bit fast that when you do like a refresh, you will just search for what's his name, Jonah, and then you'll be James, right? And you'll just be able to see him. Let's just give it a try. James, okay, it's already showing up here. You can see James Jonah. Now let's search for social media manager. Social media. You see that I'm searching with social and James is coming on board. The reason is because the mail tip, if you come to check for Jonah, you would find out that from settings, is it settings? So if you come to manage, you would see that no, there's a place where Jonah is showing edit settings. I don't want it to open to another page. Let's see what happens there. Nope, I don't want that to happen. So if we come here, that's taking a long time to open. So if I come to manage, I just want to manage general contact info. I just want us to see where we add the, yeah, this is the title. So this is where that detail is coming out from. This is why when you search with social, James is not even S, but if you search with social, then James' account is coming up. So the idea behind this is that, for example, you have somebody doing facility management, electrician job for you, delivery job for you. So if you have this person created, you don't really need to know the person's detail. So if I bring up James from Outlook, this is the end user's parts, right? This is like end user's, excuse me, there is noise coming from somewhere. So if you look at these details, you find out that you do not really know what James is doing, but you are searching with social media manager and James was up for you. And from here, you will now see that James or James's email address is this. So just in case you want to send him email. And if you feel that it's delaying some processes for you, you can just hop here and click on this and then copy the phone number or type the phone number to your phone, and then you can reach him on his work phone or on his mobile phone because these details were provided. You can also see that he works with Facebook, and then he's a social media manager of this organization. And then for this other guy here, this fellow that was created before we came. So he's the AC technician. So if I come here now and I search for AC technician, I'll also be able to see, I'm just trying to see what's happening. I'll also be able to see Peter Ken, because Peter Ken, the detail that we provided was that he is the AC technician. So Peter, if I check here under Peter or search with Peter's name, I will also see that he's the AC technician as his job title, and then his company is this, and then and so on. This is a mobile number. This is the office phone number. So that's how beautiful it can be for you to have contact saved. Good thing is that everybody in your organization would see the account if the account is enabled on GAL. Okay. And this contact really are saved on the cloud, right? So you can see that the sync status is showing that they are cloud only. So they are not on-premises sync contact in this case. Once they are created here, they live here. Now, there can be instances where you want to create multiple contacts. So it's just the same way we are doing for for M365, but then this time around you only have CSV option. So you can download a CSV file with header and contact sample, just the same way that we did the other one we did, and then you can populate details on the details on the sheets, and then just fill it and just upload it to your admin center. Then you would have created those contacts. Now look at the sample here. Just do this. So this time you don't, the other time the user must have your domain, right? So let's try to bring this up under contact and see what happens. Now let me close it. It's going to be like the last download I did, right? I will just do this. I'll just bring this down. So let's do browse to, and then let's pick it. It's definitely going to be this one. So let's upload it. So let's click on add contact and see what experience we're going to have. Now, if you check something, right, in the previous one we did, if you were doing it from create user, it will be wrong because you are not the owner of Contoso. But you see now that Chris Green has been created as contact, even though his his domain is Contoso. It doesn't really matter at this time. But if you had come here to active user, to multiple user creation, and then you no, I don't want us to go that route. I come to add multiple users, and then I want to use CSV, and I come to download CSV with an example user, and then I bring up this is import user, right? And then I browse to that same Chris Green details there in that, just so you see what is inside there yet. Let me just do something. Come in here and then bringing this up, and it's going to just come up in a bit of second. Where are you? Let me check again. Okay, I think it's up now. It's just up now. Import user. This is it. So now you can see that it is the same sample, the same Chris Green, and if I check, it's still the same Chris Green, and it's at contoso.com. So for this, if you look at it now, let's bring it on here now to browse, and then we go to this. We're going to have an error, right? So the error will be saying that the file you have uploaded has one or more errors. Please correct them and upload again. So if I click on this view, the error will tell me that the email does not contain, the email address domain contain extra or invalid character. The reason is because this is not my domain user. But a different experience is what we had when we did that for contact sample, because For contact, I don't really need to have the domain. It is just being saved and I can have the details. So with what we have done, we have seen that Chris Green is working with Contoso, and then his phone number is this, and then all of the details. So what that means is that if we come to Outlook now and we will refresh, it's possible that this contact would have synced already to Outlook. So if we are searching for Chris Green, and then we're just going to have the guy's detail. I don't know, he's already here. Chris Green, yeah, is here. So if you come to Chris Green now, and then you come to search for the contact, you see that's Chris Green, and then this is a business fax, and then this is his mobile phone number, this is workplace, his company is Contoso, his job title is IT manager, and then that means that if we're also searching with IT manager as contact, we will definitely see that detail there. So that's how that is for creating multiple contacts. So for multiple contacts, you can, input different names on the sheet, by, just as you would want it. So if I come to import contact here, of course, you see that the first thing is here. But if you look at the user's own, you see that it's of different. For user own, username is starting it, and then first name, last name. If you come to contact name is starting it, first name, last name, before you talk about the email address. So you can really put them side by side and see the difference. What that means is that if I upload the I'm sure that a curious mind will be like, what if we try to upload the one that we just downloaded for users? Is it going to work? Import users. Because the template is not of the same, right? You can see already one or more email address incomplete or has character that aren't allowed. Fix and try again. The reason is because this is for creating user, this is not for creating contact. So you must really be able to put them side by side to understand the similarities and to understand the difference. But what is possible is that you can create multiple users as well as create multiple contacts. Okay. So from here, if you want to export the list of the users you have in the CSV form, you don't only import, you can also export the list of the users. So if I click on here to say export could take some time depending on the number of contacts in your organization, but this is just 3 contacts. So I don't expect that to take time. So if you look at this, which is coming on, that is going to be like the contact list for me. And this is it, right? So if I do this, I can do this. And then this is the ID for the user. These are the display name. So that means that contact has their unique ID. Definitely every user, every contact has a unique ID that distinguishes it from the other one. So if you look at this display name, I have 3 contacts, their first name, last name, and all of that, last name Green and all of these. And then this is the only person that has address, the city, and is in Redmond. Then the company is Contoso, the country is United States, then the fax number is this. All the details are here. Remember that we pull this out from. So if you look at this, these just the details we provided are just definitely going to be there. And the ones we did not provide, just like this, they're going to be empty. And then so really what I'm trying to say is that you can download or export the list of the contacts you have in an organization, because when it comes to auditing, all these details are very important that you know about them. So without stressing too much on contacts, we would be diving right deep into the next thing, which is the guest users. Guest users are actually users that have presence in your domain, but they were invited from other domains. So if you hear the word guest, it means that it is someone that's come to visit you and you know the person. But a stranger is like somebody who is in your house. If somebody come into your house and is not a member of the family, you don't even know him. He's a visitor, quite okay, but he's a stranger. I think visitor, right? is slightly different from the word guest. A visitor can just be somebody who is a stranger totally, but a guest is somebody that you know and you are expecting, or you know whether you're not expecting him or not, but he's now in your house. So if we use that analogy to move on with what I'm trying to say, there is difference between external and guest users. So for guest user, if this is your organization, then guest user somehow would have like a shadow presence in your organization, and then in their own faraway organization, right? They also have presence there. But this time, the difference is that these guys, excuse me, these guys that we are talking about, they have their own domain, right? These guys, they are red guys and we are black guys. And then there are people that work here and we want to invite them as collaborators. So this guy that is a red guy here in their own organization, we decide to give him like a presence here, but that presence is going to be managed, right? It's going to be like you can decide to limit what this person can do, but then the person is available in your own environment, because all the users you have, like all the internal users you have, are all in black, right? So it means that anybody that is in red, like, is not really your own user. So it can be like this, and this is what is called B2B collaboration, that is business to business collaboration. This is generally your users, they are black, but you are bringing in somebody who is red to come and work with you here. So these are invited users, these are created users. So these are created, right? I would say that again here. These are created users. They are they can be internal users, they are called internal users, internal, while the ones that are this guy that is invited, right, is invited here, invited, they are guest users, guests, right? Now, the same way too, just as you are a guest here, you can also have another organization where you are a guest. So you can be guest in like different organization as with your user. The same way too, this organization could also bring in your own user as a guest to their own environment just to collaborate with them on certain projects. However, right in the cloud or in the cloud account, an organization can be existing on its own. It does not really have any dealings with you. It's just there in the cloud. And then they have a user there, and that user is probably what color do we use? The green user, right? It's just here in the cloud. And then because this user has presence in the cloud, then you have a need to send a contact to this user. I mean, you have a need here as an internal user here to contact this person. You just send message to this person, and this person from their domain would also have to respond to you. Now, the person is just on its own, does not have any presence in your environment, right? You have an interaction with this person, and that is all that is happening there. But this person, if you search your directory, if you search without even adding him as a contact, remember you can also add this guy as a contact, but that time is not having presence in your environment. He's just there for you as a book, as a directory to quickly reach out to him. That is not to say that he's a guest, but a guest has a level of permission in your environment and is having an identity with you, right? So now, for organizations that invite people to work with them on particular projects, to come to one team or the other to work with them, this is called guest. And now the difference between guest and external user are enormous. There are many, right? But there are things that stand out. And that's one very important thing, is that this user is going to be in your directory. So you can search for this user who is external. And the email address of this user in your environment is going to be his own domain, his own domain, right? So let me do it as black so that you can see what I'm writing. I'm just going to change it to black. His own domain, right? And then you have hash, you have ext, you have another hash, then your own domain, your own domain. So what I'm trying to say is that if you have account, if you have email address in your tenant and you are having ext hash, then your domain, something should tell you that that particular user is not an internal user. He is a guest user. So this, if you know this very quickly, is going to be very helpful to you to distinguish between a full-fledged user and guest users in your environment. So, but for external, you just have their domain straight. For external, if this guy is from facebook.com, you just see facebook.com, facebook.com straight. You don't have anything. But if you invite this guy from that same facebook.com and is not a guest here, let's say his name is James at Facebook. So the guy will now be, okay, let's say Mike. I think I've used James before. It will now be Mike. So instead of at Facebook, it will now be underscore Facebook. The at has been replaced. And then you have hash, right? You have ext. Then you have another hash. And then you have the domain now will now be pillars. It will now be ext at pillarsconcept.com. Something like this. pillarsconcepts.com. We'll see all of this. It's not theory, it's practical. Okay. So I'm just telling you how you will distinguish it. For the external user, it's just going to be their domain. Simple. But if you brought that guy in as a guest, then it's going to be like this that we've seen here. So it can also be Gmail, it can be Yahoo Mail, it can be any mail at all, can be invited as guests in your Microsoft Entra tenants. That's what I want you to know. So this is guest, and this is like the difference between external and guest. There are like practical difference of what guest can do and what external user can do. Let me just say what guests can and external users can do. There's a link that has a table. Let me just check. All guest, control guest access. I don't think that is it. User access, external allow collaboration. I'm just check. Microsoft, it's looking like this one. GitHub, what that's. I will just check this. I hope I'm just going to see the table here. That this is it. So you compare external and guest access. So for there are a lot of things that if you look at this, yes, I'll just drop this for you before I forget on the chat. So because people find it difficult to really differentiate between external and guest access, and the very time you understood these differences, the better for you. So chat with someone in another organization, external and guest. Yes, you can chat. Call someone in another organization. Yes, you can call. But see if someone from another organization is available for a call. Yes, you can know. Depends on the configuration of that tenants, because you can see one here now, right? There are conditions. So search for people in other organization. For external, yes. For guest, no. There's one particular thing that is always a striking difference, and it is this one. If you are chatting with an external user, you will not have the option to share file in Teams. We're going to look at that when we get to Teams. But if you are chatting with a guest, you can definitely share a file. And it is the guest permission setting in SharePoint, which we're also going to do, that will determine how you are going to be able to share the file with this user, really. So this is a table that's going to be very useful. Things people outside the organization can do. What can they do? So you can look at this table. These tables are really very important, that you take care of them as good as you can, right? So now I mentioned something that guest users are invited and external users are created. If you come to this and then you look at guest, if you click on add guest, you will see what will happen. It will take you to the Entra Admin Center. The reason is because guests cannot be created in your M365 Admin Center. It actually redirects you to portal.azure.com. This is like the best place where you can really create guest users, just in case. If you look at it's not Entra ID, actually. This is portal.azure.com. This is where you can really um, um, create guest user. You can do that from Entra as well. So if you come under users, all users in Entra, can you just quickly load up? So if you come to new, because somebody has asked me in one of the trainings that you see the word create. Create is for create new internal user in your organization. You see the word invite. Invite an external user to collaborate with your organization. So external users are invited, internal users are created. Now, if you expand this, right? Can you see what I was trying to tell you about, talk to you about? You will see Abiyodun Shegun 7 at gmail.com was this person's email address. Look at it. But you can see that that first at has been changed to underscore, which speaks to what I was trying to tell you here, right? This has turned to underscore. And then if you also observe quickly, you will see that you have the ext, #ext. Can you see it? #ext, right? I'm sure that you're already connecting this. And then you now, after the hash, you see the at sign that now says that at mvpbenefit.onmicrosoft.com, because this is my domain. So it's the person's email address outside with the at replaced with underscore, and then you have the ext that distinguishes it from the internal user. This is very important. Like there are scenarios where if you don't know that you are dealing with external user, you will not be able to truly understand how to troubleshoot issues. But can you look at this user? Bulk 2 is just coming like directly at MVP benefit, because I have two domains. It can be pillarscloud.com.ng, right? Or can be MVP benefit, which is the default domain that came with the tenants. With those, we are going to look at like in the future. So if you see this class of users, please know who is internal and who is external. Not external, but who is guest user in your environment. And if you also look at here, you will see that you have member. So for member, they are your internal user, while the guest, if you see guest, they are your invited users, right, to collaborate with you. Because if you look at this, it said invite an external user to collaborate with your organization. So it's a B2B collab. So if you look at filters here, if we say, okay, we want to filter by the user type, I think it's really very better here. When you are doing reporting, if you come to active users, and then if you want to look at only the guest users in your environment, you can really do that. I'm just thinking of where that is. So if I don't quickly, yeah, this is it. If you click on guest now, all you're going to have here is only the guest user. And you can see that all the guest users are having the same thing. So I brought in this person's Gmail, this person's email address, and then you can see, but the same pattern, ext runs through. So if I clear that filter and I want to say, okay, I just only want to see um the licensed user, for example, I just want to see if I bring up only the internal users, right? You would see that none of them is having the ext. So what this means is that all these users are internal for me. So now, how do you invite a guest? Somebody should drop his or her email address quickly for me. It can be your Gmail, it can be your Outlook mail, it can be your organization mail, but let it not be like your active organization mail, so that we don't mess things up for you. So just drop like your email address, and I'm going to invite you to the tenant with that mail, and then we'll see what is there. Okay, I got one already. So I'm just going to copy this email address. So if I come here to invite, right, I would see option. The email address is the first requirement, right? I will just put this here. So, okay, I think I need to correct that to .com. So this at gmail.com, then the display name, how do I want the guy's name to display? So I will just call him Oluwabemiga, right? It's just okay. So send an invitation message. So Benga, is okay if you can confirm on the chat that you can access this email, yes or no, so that I can send the detail to you now. Let's say message. I can just quickly. Okay, thank you. I'll do that now. I am inviting you on the Copilot projects we discussed about. This is a Gmail account. It doesn't really matter. So this is the invitation URL that's going to be sent to the person. So if you look at it, it's saying that the URL to which the user will be redirected once the invitation is redeemed. By default, the invited user will be redirected to my app's applications, but it can be changed to a different URL. You can decide to put like another URL here, or what you want the person to see. But so now this is like the display name of the person. So since it's going to be housing or resident in my environment, I can decide to give him like more details about him. He's going to be a guest, definitely. Of course, when I'm converting him to member, he's now an internal user, right? So he's going to be created like an internal user. So the job title is an AI consultant. Okay, so I can decide to bring the company name is coming from Adisa Global. So and then department that is coming to work with can just be innovation. So all these details can be provided, right? And then the ID that I'm going to use to bring him in, like it's going to be like he has his email address in his environment, he's working with his environment, but whenever he wants to access my own organization work, he has to switch from his own organization to the guest environment where he will have limited access based off on what I'm setting up for him as a guest. So employee type, if I have a detail about the phone numbers, I mean all these details, I can provide them, but it's not compulsory. Assignment is if I want to add him to group or I want to give him a role, even as he's coming as a guest, I can decide to. The first time I saw this, I was not comfortable with it because you can go as far as giving like roles, all the roles here, anyone can truly be given to your guest. But of course, if he needs to really carry out an admin role, you can do this, or you can do like entitlement management to give him like a controlled access. So if it's fine by you, all the details you provided here is this is his name. I am inviting you. This is the message he's going to get. Excuse me. And then it's going to the user type is guest, and then his AI consultant. It's from Adisa Global, and it's going to work with your innovation team. And it has no rule, right? So you can just click on invite. So just in a bit, he's going to get a mail. So when you get that mail, please just click it and then put it on the chart. So I'm going to search for him now. It's going to be appearing in my tenant, but the invitation type is going to be showing that it is pending because at this point he has not accepted the invitation. So invitation status is pending acceptance. Okay, so now there's one very important thing I want to show you here. I think I can just get to external collaboration setting. Let me see if I'll see it in Entra here. Yeah, and external collaboration settings. So here is very, very important. So this is where I choose what my guest should be able to do or not to do. So if you look at this place, guest access, guest access, guest users have the same access as members. This is not a very great idea. To be safe, you should know that somebody coming from outside should have like limited access. So this is saying guest users have limited access to properties and membership. of directory objects. And this is saying guest users access is restricted to properties and the membership of their own directory, most restrictive. You can also choose to say, okay, guest invite setting, who should be able to send invites to people? Do you want it that, because from Teams, you can actually invite guests to your environment, which we will see, right? So you can decide to say, no, people should not be able, anybody should not just go and then be able to invite people as guests to your environment to populate it without managing them. You can decide to do that. But as it is by default, anyone in the organization can invite guests, including guests themselves and non-admins. That's crazy, honestly. That means if I invite you as a guest to my environment, you can as well go ahead and invite other guests to the environment. This settings is not very good, honestly. So as security practice, you should say that member users and users assign the specific admin role. Thank you. I've seen that chat. I'll bring it up. Specific admin role can invite guest user, including guests with members' permission. So I think this is like a good setting for you to say only people with a specific role should be able to invite. Then you can also just go down to again say only users assigned to specific admin role can invite people. So you may want to check the difference between this. This is a member users and users assigned specific admin roles. This one is saying only users assigned to specific admin role can invite guest user. This is saying no one in the organization can invite guest user, including admin. This is the most restrictive. So that means that you want to block invitation of guests entirely. You can actually do that. You don't want it, you can do that. So these other ones, there are things that we will look at in our later day. But let's see what the guy that got our mail is going to get. He has sent in a chat. He has sent in the screenshot of what he has already. So I'm just going to grab it and bring it on this screen to us so we can see the experience he's going to have from his own end in Gmail. So you can see that Joseph invited you to access application within their organization. So it's saying that Microsoft invitation on behalf of Pillars Cloud Technologies Limited, please only act on this email if you trust the individual and organization represented below. In rare cases, individuals may receive fraudulent invitation from bad actors posing as a legitimate company. If you were not expecting this invitation, proceed with caution. Who is the inviter? This is the inviter. Which organization? This is the organization. What is the organization's domain? This is the organization domain. Now, the message was received by the sender and it's not from Microsoft. So this is saying that, okay, this message you are about to open is not from Microsoft, but it's from the sender, which is Joseph from the company. And then you see the write-up I made here that says, I am inviting you to on the co-pilot project with this cost. You can see that as part of the invitation that was sent to Benga, right? So he can decide to accept, and once he accepts this invitation, then we are going to be having the invitation status to be redeemed, accepted, no longer pending, right? So that's about guest. But for external, you just bring the person's email and then you put it there, and then definitely you now proceed to check the person's detail. Okay, so from the signal I got, he has accepted the request. So I'm just going to leave this and then go back to that user account and let's see what the invitation status is going to look like. So we come to all users and then we just quickly search for the user that we just invited and see the extent of the acceptance. This is the user's name. So if we do that now, let's come down to, so you will see the invitation. So you see the invitation status is showing now, no longer pending, but it is now what? Accepted. You can reset redemption status as well, right? So you can actually do a lot of things. So The act will reset the accounts, the pre-redeem state. This user will need to re-accent across the tenant. So this, if you do this, then what we mean is that the guest user will have to re-accept that invitation, and then a lot of things that you can also set there. So that's for guest users. I guess that is clear to us. You invite them, they accept, and they're part of your organization, and they're having the EXT as part of the indication that they were external people who were invited to your environment. And that's really about guest users. So deleted users. Now for deleted users, I will quickly mention that we have two stages of deletion. One stage of deletion is what is called soft delete, and the second stage of deletion is what is called hard delete. Now, what is the difference between soft delete and hard delete? So for soft delete, so if you delete a user account, this user account from, so you have two places where you can really delete user accounts. You can delete from the M365 admin center, and then you can also delete from Entra admin center. Now I would look for something. I will just quickly put it here. Bring this user here to do. And then if I bring this user here, if this user account is deleted from here, this is the deletion, the deleted folder, right? This is the deleted folder, right? If you delete from Entra, if you delete from M365, this user would come in here, and then what will happen is that he will stay here for the next 30 days, right? If you delete, right? If you delete from here now, you deleted it. Now it will stay here for how many days? For 30 days. 30 days will be here. Then if you delete from here also, it will be here for 30 days. It will be here in this deleted folder for the same number of days, 30 days, before the account is fully deleted, right? So I just want to do this, 30 days. However, from here, if this user is now inside here, when you delete the user is now inside here. And then the same thing happens when you delete from here. The user is now inside here. From here, you have only one option. It's either you wait for these 30 days and this user is deleted, or the option you have, which is really the one option that you have to do to this account, is to recover, or recover, right? Or reinstate the user back to where he was before the account was created. However, you would have to reassign the license to the user, and then I think the user will also lose his calendar events, definitely. Now, looking at this, right? So at this point, what happens is that if you look at this user, the only option you have is to recover the user so that the account comes back to where it used to be. Now, if you come to that, is I'm talking about the M365 admin center, really. So you need to be aware of this. But for the Entra admin center, right? So at this point that you deleted this user, it is called soft deletes. So at this point, the both of them are soft. So the both of them are soft. And then this is also soft. Delete. Excuse me, I'm trying to click here. You're not clicking. Delete. And this is also soft. Okay. Now, from the soft deletes, the only option you have from the Entra admin center is to restore the account. But for the Entra, right, you have two options really. Is either you want to restore, right, within that 30 days. Trying to drag it out. You want to restore, or you want to permanently delete. Permanently. You want to permanently delete. So you can really, so now let's look at something here. Now, if you are restoring, you are going here, right? You are bringing the user back to where it was, like to the original state. But if you are permanently deleting, what it means is that you are sending the user away from your environment completely. So what we are trying to say is that if you recover this account, it can come back. You just now need to reassign license to the user. But if you want to permanently get rid of the account, like today, then you now do the second state deletion without waiting for the 30 days. And that is called hard delete. Now, from Entra, you have option to intentionally, manually carry out hard delete by going there and then deleting the account. But for M365 Admin Center, it is only after the 30 days that the account can be hard deleted automatically based on the number of counts per day or of the days. But for Entra, really, you can permanently delete a user, which is called hard delete, right? You can really delete a user, which is called hard delete. So looking at this, right, we will practicalize this with a user account. Coming here, we can come to active users, and then coming to active users, you want to pick, I don't know what this guy is doing here, Bamidele Oga. So if you pick this guy, right, and then you delete from here, what will happen? You will say delete. So if you click on delete, this account is gone. So you can click on close. If you click on close, the account you deleted is going to be under deleted users. Quite okay. Bamidele Oga, this is the account. If you come to the Entra Admin Center and you also come to deleted users, you are also going to have the account under the deleted user, Bamidele Oga. Now, point is that if you look at it from this angle, you will see restore. You will not see any other thing that has to do with further deleting of the account. Then if you come to check, let me just close this out so it doesn't confuse us. But if you come to check here, this is the account, you would see delete permanently. Okay, this is the Entra feature that is possible. So if I hit on this, and then it will tell me all data for these users will be irrevocably deleted. Are you sure you want to continue? But if I come here, the only option I have is to restore. So if I click on restore, right? And then see what happens. It says restoring Bamidele Oga. Say you must do two things to complete restore a user. First, restore the user in the admin center, which is what we want to do now. Second, reassign any license they had prior to getting deleted. After the second step, which is giving license, data and access to services will be restored. Auto-generate password upon restoring the user, or do you want to be the one to set the password for that user while you are restoring the user? And do you want to also make the user change their password upon first sign in, which is like the experience you had when you are creating a user, or do you want to just allow that password to remain? Let's say we check this, and then we also come here, and then we say auto generate password. So if you click on this, the account will be restored. And if we come back to deleted user here, and then we do like a refresh here, then that account is not going to be found here again because I have restored it from the M365 admin center. Now let's look at BAMS 2 is also deleted accounts. If we come to the M365 admin center, and then let's close this. And then if we come to this BAMS, right, let's not restore from here. Let's go and restore from here to see the difference or the difference in experience that we are going to have restoring user from the M365 admin center and restoring a user from the Entra admin center. So if I do a restore here, what happens is that restore user, if I click OK, that's all. So what happens in restoring a user from the Entra admin center is that it is just going to automatically have the user change their password, creating an automatic password for the user one, and then it must require that the user change their password upon first signing. However, the account you do not know the password when you have recovered it in Entra until you go back to reset the password for the user to sign in. Let's now say, for example, that we want, if you refresh here now, that account is not going to be under deleted again because the account has been restored. That is because it was still under soft delete and it was still within those times which you can restore the account. But then if you had waited for 30 days, then the account will be permanently deleted. And the date on which it was deleted is always going to be showing in this column for you to take a note of. Now we want to delete an account permanently, and let's look at how it goes. So let's say, for example, this same BAMS2, I don't know what you've done to us, but we're going to get rid of you now. Or Bamidele and Bamidele Oga, you can delete multiple users at a time. So what you just do is you can click here and then it will say that you can restore deleted users and their data except for calendar. Like this is what I wanted you to know, except for calendar item and alias. So you cannot restore users calendar items like the meetings the person had, the dates that it was supposed to be having, like a recurring meeting. All those ones will not come back. There are limitations. So if you are working and in an organization, and or let's say you are doing support job for Microsoft products, and the user is saying that I used to be in a meeting, let's say the person resigned temporarily and then they deleted the account and then it was always in recurring meetings, and then the person's account has been restored when the person came back to the company, but all the meeting invites, it lost them. They just tell the person that they need to re-invite him or her to those meetings that used to, because calendar items are not restored when deleted accounts are restored, if that makes sense to us. So for 30 days after you deleted them, licenses will be available to assign to others, to the other users immediately after 30 days data have been permanently deleted. I've seen a question where they say that can you reassign license from a deleted user account or similar thing. If you remove license from a user or if you delete a user, the licenses that were on that user will be automatically available for you to assign to other users in your environment, so long the licenses are still within the period of expiration or within the billing cycle for that license. So really you can do delete users. So these two users are now deleted. So what that means is that if I come, I'll see BAMS2 and Bamidele Oga here in deleted user folder, which is at this point they are soft deleted. Why are they not showing here? You don't want to come to deleted user or what? Let me see really what's happening. So they are here now, Bamidele Oga, and you can see that they are in hierarchy in terms of how they were deleted. So if you look at that, really, you will see that this is BAM2 and this is this. The dates here are going to be here until 30 days when these are going to be deleted. But I say I want to get rid of them today because of one reason or another. So what we'll do is to come to the Entra Admin Center, and I'm just going to refresh this, and then we'll see BAMS2 and Bamidele Oga. So if we select them, we'll have option to restore these users, and then we'll have option to permanently delete the user. And once we do this, there is no how you will ever, I didn't select Bamidele or Gawat. So there is no how you can see those accounts in your environment again. So you don't get this by mistake. It is actually done and dusted. So you don't have option to recover. So before you go ahead with this second stage, remember that their data and associated details are going to be deleted. So you have to be very, very careful. That said, I will just quickly introduce us before we wrap up today. I will quickly introduce us to teams and group, as it's going to form like the major foundation of what we are going to be looking at next week. So for active teams and group, right? If you come to groups here, and below it is active teams and group. So you have active teams and group again that you want to click. So in here, you have teams and M365 groups. You have distribution list, and then you have security group. So if you look at active teams and group, you have some things under it. If you look at distribution list, you have some things under it, right? If you come to security group, you also have some things under it. So I just wanted to know. So if you come to teams and group, rather, really, you will see add team, right? You will see add an M365 group. And then if you come to distribution list, you have distribution list, and then you have security group. I will explain this to you now. For teams, this when you create this, you are creating a team in Teams, right? And then, yes, it's going to form an M365 group, but has Teams status enabled. You can see this is a group, but all company group is not a Teams group. That's why it's not having this sign of Teams here to show the team status. I'm not opening it. I'm just trying to show you the logo there. So for every team that you see this logo appearing is a Teams enabled group. So for other groups that are here that you don't see the teams happening or showing there, they are M365 group, which are not Teams enabled. So if you are clicking on the add a team, then what you are doing at this point is you are adding a Teams enabled group. Okay. Then if you are adding this type of group, M365 group, you are adding this kind of conditional access GRP that has no team status enabled, or you are doing a team like the all company group that is not having teams enabled, or you are having HR pillars concept or pillars technology site that is not having teams enabled. So you can really have a group, and this M365 group is not a teams group. Now look at this, listen to this statement that could cause confusion in your head, but try to get it straight. All teams group are M365 group, but not all M365 groups are teams group. Just know it. Not all M365 group are teams group, but all teams group are M365 group. So what that means is that when you create a team, you are indirectly creating an M365 group. And if you may create an M365 group that you don't want it to be a team. I will just leave it here without stressing much. So in here, you can export, and then you can do all of the other ones, which we are going to be looking at in our next meeting. Then distribution list. Distribution list, you will hear things like dynamic distribution list when you get to Exchange Online. But at the stage where we are is a distribution list. So high level explanation, what's a distribution list? A distribution list is like a bucket. Distribution list is like a bucket. What will I use to just show a bucket? Now I'm trying to look at a shape that will look nice for a bucket. And sorry, I'm going to do Windows and then I'll do this. So now what can really be like a nice shape for me to show a bucket? Maybe this. So it's a bucket where you have different email address. When you have different users' email address, you have different user inside of it. And this bucket has an email address, abc@pillarsconcept.com. abc@pillarsconcepts.com. So what this is going to do for you is a distribution. That's why they call it distribution list. So when you send a mail to this email address, right? When you send a mail to this email address, the email is distributed to individual, one after the other. Everybody gets the same type of mail. Just take it like your bank trying to send an email to you. I'm sure you'll be thinking that you go and be typing A, you start type B, type C, type D. No, inside an organization, that's really what we're looking at this time. This one can be like HR, or it can be like HR. And then when this Valentine's this thing was coming, then the HR just compose like a very nice email to say that what will I use for like very nice envelope now? I don't see triangle that is inverted. I wanted to use a triangle that is inverted to show what I'm talking about. So only that one email, HR will just pop it, or maybe like end of the year celebration or party, you just pop it here, and that email is just going to get distributed to all of you. So that is what is called a DL. So if you hear the word DL, distribution list, that's what the distribution list does. So you have security groups. So security groups are actually three type or two type actually. You have the security group, which is the what's I call it now? I can call that the default security group. And then you also have the mail enabled security group. So the security group here does not have a mail. It is used to give grants permission. So just know that when you hear distribution list, is to distribute email. When you hear M365 group, there are two types. They can be Teams enabled, not Teams enabled. The Teams enabled have presence in Teams. The non-Teams enabled don't have presence in Teams. For DL, they are to send email to people by using one email address to distribute a mail across. Then for security groups are used to grant access and permission to resources. The resources can be applications. The resources can be SharePoint sites, like that. So that is what security group really does, right? So haven't given like a general high level overview or explanation on what teams and group is or are. When we come next week, we will look at active teams and group deeply, and then we can look at policies. Policies is actually going to be in M365, and then we'll look at deleted groups. I mean, going to policies is actually going to be more in Microsoft Teams. Then for deleted groups, we will really look at this just the same way we did for users, exactly the same experience, what is there. Then for shared mailbox, it's going to be like very, very big in Exchange. So when we come next week, we will look at this here in M365. We'll also look at it, how it is in Exchange Online and how it is in M365 Admin Center, as well as Entra, right? Yeah, three places you're going to compare them. So that said, that will be all that we can cover for today, just so you can go back and look at what it means by contact, and then look at how you can create contacts by creating one contact at a time, creating multiple contacts, exporting the list of contacts. Then you look at guest users to try to distinguish between you see those triggers or those details that will show you whether a user that you are looking at is an external or an internal user, and then how to invite the guest user, and also know that invited users are guests while created users are internal. And then we look at deleted users, and then we said there are two stages of deletion. There is soft and then there is hard delete, and how you can restore the user really. So this is all that we can cover for today, and I hope that you would find this useful for the week while we prepare to meet in the coming session. Thank you. It is time for questions.